Colorism has become a hot topic of conversation since the release of Black Panther, which features a predominantly dark-skinned cast.
And now, award-winning dermatologist and skincare founder Clare Anyiam-Osigwe has written and directed her first film, No Shade, exploring colorism from a Black British perspective through love, relationships and marriage. Let's take a look.
I think I'm beautiful. Yeah, but they don't see it, you know? They can't see my beauty because of my shade. It's like there's some acceptable shade of beauty and I'm not it. I'm not it.
I'm pleased to say that the writer and director Clare joins us now. And Clare, it is a hot topic, but some people also won't quite understand it. Just explain what colorism is.
Colorism is the prejudice usually put against light-skinned Black people and Asian people against darker-skinned people of the same racial group. So what I found is that people were saying to me that their own friends, family, boyfriends, husbands were saying, you'd look prettier, you'd possibly do better at work if you would lighten, brighten, bleach your skin. And as a dermatologist, this was something that was of deep concern to me. My whole practice is vegan and natural. And so for people to start asking me to create bleaching creams, I thought there's actually a deeper story here. It's a social issue and it stems from a historical sort of reminiscent or relic of slavery, really. That's misunderstood, I think, because there's not enough education around how Black Brits, you know, came to be here through different ways and how our skin tone has always been sort of policed and used as a political statement about how worthy we are of success or love or you know, being in relationships.
Has this prejudice then always existed and is it coming to more of a prominence now?
Yeah, it's something that was sort of systemic of slavery. So the darker-skinned Negro was outside in the field. The lighter-skinned Negro was a product of sexual violence and rape, if we're frank, and therefore had more privileges, sleeping in the master's house, doing more domestic labour as opposed to hard manual labour. And now, 400 years later, it's not something that is often being perpetuated by our white counterparts. It's actually happening within Black communities towards each other. And I think that's where people are starting to say, hey, hang on, why are we doing this to ourselves? We've kind of fought for freedom and, you know, we've moved on in society and we're owning our own businesses or creating films, but actually this is something now that's plaguing us within ourselves. So I thought this would be a wonderful story against a love story. It's a romantic drama, the film, to kind of tackle it and see where it's coming from and why it's rearing its head again in the 21st century.
And you talk about dermatology and cosmetics. Is it mainly women who are attempting to go lighter? It
is. I mean, men do it. There have been some people in the kind of reggae community that have reggae artists have lightened their skin, and therefore in the West Indies people have kind of aspired to that, and that's men who are doing it as male reggae artists. But for the UK and US, I think women are more susceptible to this idea that they're never enough, whether it's looking at music videos or it's looking at magazines. And there's always this essence that, oh, if I was slightly a bit lighter, I'd be maybe more successful in my career. So that's the kind of stereotype that's been perpetuated over 20, 30 years. And now we're seeing young people and women and men going onto social media under the guise of hashtag light skin, hashtag team dark skin, and having these kind of online beefs with each other about who is better, who's got better hair, who's going to be more successful, who's more attractive. So that was the backdrop of the story.
So tell us about the film and what you want the viewer to get out of watching it.
Sure, the film is based around a kind of love triangle. So you've got Danny and you've got Jade. Jade is a darker skinned, successful woman. She's happy, but she's using social media to find love. And on a few dates, she is made to feel and told, quite frankly, that, oh, you'd be a lot better if you were lighter skinned, or I thought you were lighter skinned because of the filter that you had on your picture. And she's left with, you know, quite a bruised self-esteem. But then there's resolutions in the end as to why the men are feeling this way or saying these types of things, where it stemmed from. And therefore there's some solution at the end about actually, it's truly about self-love, really.
And you know, that is the solution, isn't it? It's about self-confidence. It's about It's about feeling comfortable and being happy in the skin that you're in. But where do you think the solutions need to come from? Is this something within the black community?
I think so, absolutely. I think even as we look at it this month, there's been this question about, is Black History Month even relevant? Should we celebrate it? I think if young people understood, you know, from teenage years, where these divisions have come from, how systemic racism has worked in the past, then they'd be less likely to kind of adopt these views about who's light, who's dark, and this divisive nature that is going on within the community.
Where should the starting point be? Because if kids are having these so-called beefs in school and,
Yes.
you know, these arguments about who's light and who's more attractive
That's
as a
right.
result, you know, where do you begin?
So we could begin in the family home because, you know, again, some of my cast, when we did our first Q&A for our festival premiere, we're talking about, you know, even my grandma has said, don't bring no nappy-headed girl home. Don't bring somebody home that's not yellow bone. So this yellow and red and all this sort of, you know, separation of skin tone makes us very hyper aware that I'm different. I am, you know, my natural inherent beauty is being policed constantly by people that look like me, that are from my family. So I think it's about starting in the home with that education.
I'm afraid, but thank you so much for coming in.
Thank
Great to
you.
see You're watching Sky News. Coming up.